Hey there. So, when we moved in here back in April, we found out that we had a sprinkler system. Didn't happen to notice that when we were touring the place beforehand. Um, we found out from the neighbors that it hadn't been used the entire time that the previous owner was here, about 5 years. And so I decided to turn the water on and see if there was any leaks and see if any of the zones still worked. Well, I found out that I only have one zone that still works. The other three zones all have leaks or make geysers or don't work at all. One of them makes a giant geyser right over the top of my shed. So at that point, it was decided that this is going to be a project for next summer, maybe, you know, a couple following summers as we start to fix things here around the house. So what we're going to do today is blow this system out with the air compressor that I have here at home, just to make sure that there's no further damage to it done over the winter from that water being pumped through it. So that's what we're going to do today. Out here I've taken the cover off of the box. I have one more valve somewhere that I don't know where it is, but we'll find that next year. Today we're going to operate it from the control system. Before I was coming down here and just turning the valves, but I can't do that for the one that I don't know where it is. So since we know all of our valves work electronically now, we're going to go ahead and go downstairs and hook up the air compressor and get it pressurized and drain all the water out of the lines. Get ready to go. So fortunately my sprinkler system shut off. It's located conveniently right next to my crawl space door. So what we're going to do first is put a bucket under the air attachment there, drain it out, and make sure that no water is going to come back into my compressor. So we're only going to be using about 55 psi, because I don't know whether I have the black polyethylene lines or the rigid PVC lines in the ground, so we don't want to overload them. So let's go ahead and get the water drained out of here. Oh. Suppose that's a good thing, right? I'm gonna let that drip for a little while. Just a couple minutes maybe. Alright, well, while that drips, let's make some noise and get the air compressor going. Alright, I already have my air compressor downstairs, so now I just need to turn it on, let it get pressurized, then we'll set the regulator and connect it once the water stops dripping. So, loud time. Okay, now that the air compressor is pressurized, we'll go ahead and set the regulator to 50-ish. And the water has stopped dripping into the bucket, so should be good to go ahead and connect now. So now we'll go upstairs and turn the zones on one at a time for 2 minutes a piece. But we're going to have to let the air compressor recoup in between, probably. Maybe. I've never done this before. It's the first time homeowner DIY, so let's go give this a shot. Alright, let's start with zone number 1. That's quite the leak. And judging by how much is coming out, we're gonna probably end up blowing out each line, each zone twice. And I forgot one step that I'd seen online said to start with the zone with the sprinkler head farthest away, which I did not do. So let's go ahead and turn on the front zone and see what happens. And that's zone 3. 1 minute left on that one. Air compressor's going downstairs, I can hear it. So we're gonna have to let that recover before we start on another zone. Alright, air compressor's caught up, so let's go ahead and do zone 4. This is the one that makes a geyser over the shed. I don't know if y'all could see that, but it's pretty tall, right over the shed. Feels kind of nice, actually. Alright, so we've done 1, 3, 4. Now let's do 2. Alright, so we've gone ahead and cycled through all 4 zones like a few times, so we're gonna call it good there. I think all the water is out of the system that need to be in there. Last time I cycled through each of the zones, 1 or 2 heads had a fine mist, but I think that'll be okay. Most of these heads are likely gonna need to be replaced or in the least dug up and elevated a little bit. So we'll go ahead and give the compressor a rest for the day and close everything up here. So I don't know if you can hear that, but there's a hissing sound coming from around this area. there's still some air in the pipe. I shut the valve off before I actually shut the air off. So this will need, you can see it's a little wet here. So this will be something that I'll need to fix, is that leak there, whenever I go to get this whole bit working in the future. So I'll just close this valve here, put the cover back on this thing, and call it good for this one. Thanks for joining me for this first time DIY adventure, and hope you liked the video. If you do, hit that like button, and if you want to see more, subscribe. Thanks for joining me.